Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Ground Up Podcast. Thank you guys so much for being here. My name is Matt Walton, and my other host, Matt Huber, not Uber. Matt Huber is here as well. We have a great guest today named Evan Islam. Evan runs Central Station Marketing out of Dallas, Texas. He does websites, SEO, PPC, pay-per-lead. I mean, there's a ton of different things he does on his website for a ton of different industries. Evan, how you doing today?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here, man. So tell me a little bit about what's going on in the business with you.
Well, business is business, right? You have your up and down, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to get sales. Sales trumps everything. So, on the business side, we have about right now about a couple of hundred clients nationwide. We
Wow.
work primarily with home improvement contractors.
Hmm.
We have roughly around 50 or so team members that focuses on content writing, link building, search engine optimization, website development, and all of that stuff. So, and then of course you have your account management, accounting, collections is a big one where you got to collect money all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta deal with a lot of that stuff, right? So,
Yeah, we've been lucky. We haven't ran into the issue of having to collect stuff yet. Knock on wood, I hope we don't ever, but I know that's not the case for all.
we don't have enough clients yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is more money, more problems then, I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, good news, Matt. You and I have not talked about it. The first 7 years of my professional experience out of high school was high-end collections. I used to do
There we go.
collecting. I used to do 7-year past due, post charge off credit card collections for Capital One. So just imagine your credit card charged off 7 years ago, and you've got this 22-year-old jerk calling you, trying to get you to pay something on that old bill before it goes off your credits. That was me.
That's
Evan,
that.
I know you and I've had many conversations about this, and what you've done with your business is a big part of an inspiration for ultimately what Matt and I created with what we do around virtual assistants. Talk to us a little bit about kind of your idea around what you do with a lot of your staff and how that's benefited you as a business owner.
if you're talking about virtual team members, I mean, especially pandemic made us all virtual in a way, right? So, um, our office is in Euless, Texas. We had probably 16, 17 people in the office. We used to come in physically. And then the pandemic made it so that, hey, start from home, work remotely, and everybody went home to work, and I couldn't get them back to the office again. Okay. But that being said, I do have we got about 16, 17 persons here in the States. And then we have another 40, 50 on the website development side. We have about, they're in Bangladesh, and they're all remote. And it's just a lot of grinding, a lot of working night hours to train, to communicate. There's a lot of communication gaps when you work remotely,
Yep.
and you don't get that touch and feel, the break room conversations. You don't get any of that stuff. So the content, meeting of the content stays high level, but at the same time, you don't build that relationship, the close knit type relationship that you have when somebody's working physically with you, right? And I think that's the part that we have sometimes challenge with, especially when we onboard somebody new. It's a little harder to get them to acclimate with the rest of the teams. But that being said, it's a lot of training, a lot of coaching, a lot of communication, emails, and things of that nature to make it work.
So I've been lucky to learn from you and what you've built there. I've had an opportunity to sit on some of your monthly calls that you do, and I think you have one tomorrow. So I'm excited to listen in on that. And maybe Matt, you can jump on there one day to hear kind of how these calls go. And it's very interesting how he kind of involves his whole team and kind of the way they celebrate certain things that are going in his different communities, because he's got a community here in the US, right? An impressive team of people here, but he has a very impressive team over there. And the community involvement, he's got a valuable member of his team here who every month speaks a word in Bangladeshi, or I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but
That's right.
speaks a word in their language to them that is relevant to that month. And it's just interesting way they kind of bring the cultures together. When you put that together, Evan, was that your idea? Was that somebody on your team's idea to kind of innovate that?
No, it's not my idea. It's a team effort, and I think that idea came from one of my team members, Ruka, who happens to be my personal assistant. And so the reality is, I'm originally from Bangladesh. So what happens is, I go to Bangladesh 2 to 3 times a year. That's my advantage. If
Mm.
you work with remote employees in Philippines, in India, in Bangladesh, Ukraine, wherever, if you're not there, if you can't build that rapport, if you can't build that relationship, it makes it a little tougher. Because I go there, because I know the team members, because then I took them out to a resort. Just so you know, the money difference, your dollar goes a lot further, obviously overseas. That's why you do it.
Yep.
So in 2020, at the end of 2022, I took the entire team out to a resort. So I rented out the entire resort. We had 4 buses haul about. Now I said I have about 50 or so people in my web development team. Keep
Mm.
in mind, I have a nonprofit foundation. I have some programming team, and I have a local business operation over there who builds websites for local companies there. Ultimately, altogether, we have about 96 people in the organization.
Wow.
So that being said, I had to rent 4 buses to take everybody there to rented out the entire resort, had swimming, soccer, had lunch, breakfast, the whole day. Believe it or not, cost me less than 8 grand.
Wow.
And whereas I had 10 people recently, in 2 months ago or a month ago, in Dallas, Texas. I had people come from Florida, I had people come from Ohio, Rhode Island, California, and to host an event here cost me 15 grand
Mm.
because of the travel expense and all that stuff. And I can spend 8 grand, less than 8 grand, to take care of 96 people, and that's the type of I guess, the cost benefit analysis, and if you can give them a good time in the team, and they build a relationship with one another,
Yep.
and it was fantastic. I can't. Those are the things that, Matt, I would say, if you're building overseas team, what can you do for them to do that team building event type of stuff where you feel like they're part of your team, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm getting from you, that it sounds like it's important to you, is obviously the culture that you build around in your company. I think we talked to another guest of ours about the culture as well, and companies that I've been a part of, they think culture is like, again, a pizza party on Tuesday, like, something like that. They give you pizza, but it sounds like you take it the extra step, and you actually make it a point to get with them, even though we're in a virtual environment and people are across the entire world. You make it a point to get there to show them how much you appreciate them, and that you build the culture within your company that way.
Yeah, you have to, because yes, pizza party is important. Believe me, Matt can tell you, every time we have that monthly meeting,
Yeah.
they're showing pictures of, they have a birthday celebration,
Yeah.
this and that. But more importantly, if you go to our website, we now have team member of the month. Okay, because
Okay.
we have altogether in our web team about 50 plus people,
Yeah.
so there's enough individuals there to do a team member of the month.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would do team member of the year, right?
Yeah.
And then so once a year we have team member of the year from those 11 team members of the months, and the 12th month we do a team member of the year, and then we give them a cash prize bonus on top of that. So yes, it's important to recognize that they're doing a good job. It's not about the pizza party. If you can somehow create an environment to give them recognition and reward them in front of the rest of the peers, that motivates them. And then we say, okay, now that you're the team member of the month, you got a few minutes, and they all appreciate how this huge group of people voted them into that team member of the month, and the management that nominated them is an achievement in itself, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to do a lot of that stuff if you can.
Yeah.
Hear
You
that,
just
Matt?
keep up.
Team member of the month. But what I heard you say there, Evan, that maybe is slightly different than what Matt and I do, which is you said that it was manager nominated, employee voted,
Mm.
which is even more valuable because it's coming from the peers, right?
All right, maybe I made a mistake. It's not employee voted. It's generally there are we have a voting committee, okay,
Okay. Okay.
in the United States. So the nominations come from mostly from Bangladesh team members, And then every so often, we do have our team members get nominated. I think last month it was Andy that won, one of my team members here locally in South Carolina. So every so often, we do have our team members get nominated just like everybody else, because I don't want to say, oh, just because you're from Bangladesh or just because you're from here, you get a, what do you call it?
Yeah, extra credit,
Leg
right?
up on the
Yeah.
overseas team.
Yep.
No, everybody goes through the same process. We're all trying to do the same thing, and that's why we're having more and more interactive meetings with the whole team.
Hmm.
That's what's needed. So there's no favoritism here.
Wow.
It's merit based.
Yeah, and forgive me. Yeah, I think you said this at the beginning. How long have you been running the business again?
It's been 11 years now. 11 and a half.
11 years.
Yeah.
And did you do any marketing before this? Like, tell me, go back a little bit of when you started this, how you got into marketing in the first
Sure.
place.
Yes, I have. So I started my career back in 2005
Hmm.
after I graduated from Art Institute of Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Hmm.
So I studied in computer animation. The
Yeah,
dream was to be working at Pixar. I don't care
yeah,
even if they asked me to clean the bathroom, I would love to go to Pixar and start
yeah,
there, right? But then you realize it takes you to do a 3 minutes animation. It takes you 11 weeks.
hmm,
Back then the technology wasn't as good as it is today, so you
yeah,
had to do a lot of manual labor to get animation done,
yeah,
and it was a lot of work. And then a company that I worked for in 2005, after I graduated, my first job, I used to do before and after animation for infomercials. You know, like you see those commercials where, hey, lose weight in 6 weeks, and you
yeah,
get the big heavyset guy, and then you get the skinny, he becomes skinny. So I used to do the before and after animation. What I've learned is that it's a lot of unethical practices where you make the bigger guy a little bigger when they become skinny, a little skinnier. But that's part of the game, right?
yeah,
That's marketing.
yeah.
And then they had another property called Dating Chemistry. It's a website where I'm talking about 2005, so this is new stuff at that time.
Hmm.
So they needed somebody to build a website, and prior to that, I used to tinker with websites, develop my own sites and stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, I can get paid managing websites,
Hmm.
because I used to do that for free. So that got me into the website development realm. And then in 2006, I came and worked at a large manufacturer of basement waterproofing products in Connecticut, and they needed a webmaster to start their marketing division for 350 dealers in USA, Canada, and UK. And I was the first webmaster they hired, and I was there for 6 years and developed their lead distribution platform. So when you generate leads coming through their main website, those leads have to be sent out to all of their local dealers throughout the country
Hmm.
and Canada and UK. And then as we were doing that, the CEO comes in and says, man, you're generating all these leads through the main website. What if you could generate leads for the local dealer that's in, say, Toronto, say in Chicago, say in Miami, right?
Hmm.
Okay, then we had to develop a tool to build their websites.
Yep.
And so back in the days, you're talking about 2006, 2007, it was Joomla, it was Drupal. I don't know if you're familiar with any of those CMSs.
Yep.
WordPress was probably just getting started back then. So I
Hmm.
was developing in those environment. The challenge was if you have 5 websites, guess what? You have to have 5 different logins,
Yep.
5 different databases, 5 different GoDaddy accounts. There's a lot of management, right?
Yep.
And so what happened is one day I clicked on a button where I purged my database. I didn't understand what it was. Clicked
No.
on a button, deleted all my sites.
Hmm.
So, but then what I had to do is rebuild those 5 or 6, I think it was 7 sites at that time. I had to rebuild those sites. The
Hmm.
challenge was now you gotta, oh man, what was the username and password? Did I have a backup? And fortunately, I had all those content locally on my computer. I was able to build them fast that day, right? That taught me a valuable lesson where now I got to build a system where how do I create with single sign on manage 7 websites. So then I set out to develop a system where with one single login I could manage 7 sites at once. And that led to at the end of that journey, I was there for 6 years, and we had 172 websites I was managing with my team. When I was there, it was me and my boss, 2 of us, And by the time I left, there were 42 of us.
Wow.
And people wonder, why do you need 42 people to manage websites for a contractor type of company, right?
Mhm.
Well, that's because we were generating 84,000 leads a year for all of our dealers through those websites. And that's my background. So fast forward from there, I went to Fortune 500 company because you got to have your Fortune 500 experience, right?
Mhm.
And go through the red tapes and try to get things done. And then you realize there's so much you can get done. You're a small fish in this huge pond. And I'm
Yeah.
like, man, when I was working with the small business owners, they appreciated what you do because we used to generate leads and we were the livelihood of those businesses.
Yep.
So then in 2013, um, decided to go back to that environment, started my own business with the help of one of those dealers from the previous organization. And because you need a sugar daddy when you want to start a business. So,
Yeah.
so he funded my operation, and here I am 11 years later, and we're doing okay. Let's just put
That's
it.
amazing. Yeah.
So real quick, Evan, I know you and I've had this story before. Let's go back to that sugar daddy funding the operation part of it. I remember you told me your story one time, right? Because I remember having a conversation with you, and I was entertaining the idea of starting my business, taking it seriously, and we had conversations about golden handcuffs and the delay behind that. And you told me a story about how a similar offer was made to you, but you knew it was time for you to go, and you kind of made your way to the next way. Talk to me a little bit briefly. Explain that story again, because I think it's good for some people to know kind of how you made that navigation away from the golden handcuffs and bet on yourself.
So I think then let me just tell you, when I went to Fortune 500 company, once you get into the Fortune 500 realm, the company was called Pitney Bowes. Okay, it's a big at that time it was a Fortune 500 company.
Okay.
Because I read it in a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins.
Mhm.
It was one of the featured companies. So once you go there, Priceline calls you. Live Strong, Lance Armstrong Company calls you before all the drug stuff. You have all these other companies that reach out to you, and then the recruiters call you on LinkedIn because I was very active in LinkedIn at that time. And and so I was getting offers. If you're successful in a company, other companies try to poach you. And SEO is a fresh, hot new subject at that time. Everyone wants to get into SEO.
Mhm.
So not a whole lot of people could put on their resume saying, "Hey, I do SEO for 350 dealers in USA, Canada, and UK." Right? So uh, then I called one of my dealers saying, "Hey, look," because I knew I needed to make some change. I wanted to go somewhere else. So I called a dealer and I asked them who's doing their digital marketing. They had somebody doing this, and they were struggling with it somewhat. They were doing some good stuff. At least they knew they had to do digital marketing, but they didn't know how to take it to the next level because they knew what I did. So at least, Matt, I was lucky enough where that person knew what I did in the past. So I said, "Here's my resume. You know what I built at the previous company, and I want to do the same thing with you. Is there an opportunity?" And so he said, "Okay, what's the proposal? I mean, what are you proposing? What does it look like?" So he flew me from Connecticut to Texas to come in for a day. I came in for the morning. They gave me a good time, meaning showed me around the office. They gave me a little nickel tour. And then we sat down and I had an Excel file with the little game plan, which was, hey, how much are you spending on your digital marketing right now? Or with at that time he was spending about I think $8,000 a month with an SEO company, with an SEO guy.
Mhm.
So my proposal was, because I need a salary, my proposal was, let's build a separate entity and give me that $8,000 a month, and let me be the first employee of that company, and give me a place to sit, give me an office room, and let me go build the rest. So me being the first employee, at least I have $8,000 a month coming in. I could pay myself. You follow?
Mhm.
So that's how I, rather than saying, "Hey, give me a $500,000, give me $1 million, give me $100,000." If I want to ask for that, if you do the math, 8 times 12 would be what, 100,000 plus, or
Yeah,
almost
right
two
around.
hundred thousand
Yeah.
dollars. I could go and say, "Hey, give me $100,000 and let me start this." That would be hard for him to say yes to. versus give me $8,000 a month. And that's how I started. And then I immediately, as I was developing his website, his friend, he called his friend, I built their website and I charged them, I think at that time I was charging $1,500 a month, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So now you have $8,000 coming in from him. I got another $1,500, and then he signed me up with another one of his buddies. He introduced me, and I was able to sell him another 1,500. Do the math now: 8,000, another 3,000. There you go. Now you have $11,000. I can pay myself a six-figure salary if I want,
Mm-hmm.
or that's the foundation. I can start developing a team, and because I can do all of that by myself, or I can start building a team around me and let them do the work. And I kept building more sites, more sites, more sites. That first year I started in September, Matt, and by the end of the year we were doing close to almost, I think, $20,000 in recurring revenue
Wow.
because of the connection I made with the owner and his friends. Because if you're a business owner, you got a lot of business owner friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just called those friends and got them as my customers, and that was enough to start. Now we do pretty well. We have a couple of hundred clients nationwide.
So one thing, I'm gonna take it back just a little bit further here. One thing you said when you were talking about how you built everything, you got to the point where you are now, is that you basically you found problems, and then you came up with solutions. You're like, I see, like I don't want to manage 20 different websites and 20 different logins with 20 different domain names and 20 different sites. I want to find one way to do this. And so for me, like as an entrepreneur, that's something that's key. I feel like as an entrepreneur to find out where are my issues at and how do I solve that.
That, Matt, that is the. I've been lucky in that sense.
Yep.
The problem just came because of you're trying to do 6, 7 sites. Yes, that is my secret sauce, and that is the software that I built in my business right now. We have, even though I have 200 or so clients, but I manage over 400 or 500 sites. You know why? Because all business owners by default are ADDs.
Yeah.
So one business owner has 5 different businesses
Mm-hmm.
because they can't be happy with one business. They think they can do it all, then they have 5 different things going on, right?
Yeah.
So the business owner that I'm talking about that I signed up with, $8,000, he had a restoration business, he had a carpet cleaning business, area rug cleaning business, he got into insulation business, he got into cross. So now I'm adding more stuff to his, meaning more services, right?
Yep.
So I got a lot of domain names that I manage. Now the challenge that was that 7 websites that I had to manage the first time around, I could have been like, oh, you know what? I'll hire more people and I can manage that way. I could keep an Excel file with all the username and passwords. Or I was trying to figure out how can I be more efficient?
Mm-hmm.
How can I go make a change in my configuration and then I can make 7 websites update all at the same time because
Yep.
they were all similar subject matter. So my challenge was unique in a way that allowed me to build a solution around where I need to rank for at some point 170 sites, but I need to rank them independently. But how do I scale 170 times? There's no way I could do it if I was doing one site at a time. That's why if you look at most agencies, they probably have 10 clients, 20 clients, and then they max out unless they have a lot of people around them
Yep.
because they can't keep up because as an individual there's so many things you can do at once.
Yep.
So I
I
had to
agree.
build tools. So yeah, one thing was to manage the 7 website. Then I had to build a content management system to
Mm-hmm.
manage, and then my employees had to go from one website to another website. So I had to build a site switcher. So you
Mm-hmm.
go change site and go from one domain to another domain, and so you can work on that website versus this website.
Yep.
Then you have to build a lead management tool, how you listen to all the phone calls that are coming in through the website.
Yep.
So again, you go from one client to another client. How do you do that very fast and look at their data? So those type of things slowly, naturally built up as I was using the tool. I was the ultimate user. That was the benefit. So I could develop the tool in a way where I need to do this stuff myself instead of building a software for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other thing you got to keep in mind is you can build a software, but if you build it for somebody else gives you the requirement.
Yeah.
Versus this is a software that I needed for
Yeah.
my use, so I built it the way I needed to build it. And that
Absolutely.
I think that was the advantage that I had.
Yeah, but yeah, a lot of entrepreneurs will come in, or people who want to be entrepreneurs, and say like, "What do I do? Like, what do I start my business in?" And it's the key is you find something that is a problem, and then you build a solution for it, and then you sell the solution. And then not only did you do that, but when you started the business, you were like, "All right, now I'm going to build a team." Because a lot of people they become entrepreneurs and they just have another job. They might own the company, but it's just another job because they have to be in it all day long, and they have to. If they're not there, it doesn't make any money. But you thought, all right, I'm going to build this business. I got my foundation. Now, how do I make it an actual business that runs itself by building a team?
Matt, the best thing that I've done is focus on that team concept because
Yep.
a lot of entrepreneurs where they do everything themselves, and I know some. Believe me, I got 200 clients, so I know a lot of my clients that are. Uh, I work with restoration and carpet cleaning companies.
Yep.
Some carpet cleaners they do about say $250,000 a year in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
I got other carpet cleaners that will do $16 million in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
The delta is this guy that's doing it, he does his accounting, he does his bookkeeping, he does his answers the phone call himself because he doesn't want to spend the money to have an employee to do that on his behalf. So he thinks he can do it all, and versus the company that the owner that runs a $16 million company, he doesn't do anything. He
Yeah.
works on the business. He has a weekly meeting with his managers, tells them, give me an update. And I don't think he even makes all the business decisions, to be honest. The managers tell him, here's what we should be doing. And he just says, I like it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's, and I'm saying that because that's what I do now.
Yeah.
I got such a fantastic cast with me,
Mm-hmm.
my team members. I'm not sure when's the last time I made a decision. They do everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that's why I have a lot of free time on my hand to do. I love to do what I do, which is sales demos, so I can present myself rather than hiring a sales guy to do all the sales stuff for myself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I enjoy. But then the follow up, I have somebody that Matt hired for me does the follow up for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I really like that, I want to do the follow ups too. I want to send the contracts to. No, I have somebody else sends the contracts for me. So
Yeah.
if you create processes in place, then you as an individual would have a lot of free time to focus on what you really like to do, and uh, and the person that's doing the follow up, maybe he loves doing that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He can't probably do the demos like I do, right? So we all have our own roles into this stuff. But one thing I'll tell you is most entrepreneurs fails when they think they can do it all, and then they think they must do it all. I
Mm-hmm.
got one guy that's trying to build a property, and he just told me, Evan, man, it's so hard to deal with these contractors. I got to go buy the lumber. I got to do this. I'm like, why? Haven't you
Yeah.
heard of general contractors? Why don't you just contract somebody out and sure they'll charge you a little more money, but you shouldn't have to deal with that stuff. So that's I see that where a lot of people make the mistake of doing too much on their own instead of delegating the tasks.
Yeah, and let me and not play devil's advocate, but to add on to that, I mean, I think one of the things that Matt and I really focus on is we're trying to build our businesses. We're really trying to make sure that our leaders really master all of the fundamentals in the development process. So to your point, I think in order for you to ultimately bring somebody in to do the follow-up, you have to know how to do the follow-up yourself, to hold the person accountable to do that. You have to know somebody before you hand off the responsibility of the development. You need to master the development so you can identify the right person to put in the head of development role and all those different things. And I think that a lot of entrepreneurs, I'd say, struggle with what you said, where they want to be the founder-led at every single part of their business. But then other entrepreneurs struggle at. Matt and I talk to people who come in and they want to start a business, but they want to hire somebody to run every part of the business. And they, from the beginning, don't even know how to run any part of their business, but they want people to run it for them. So there is that fine line mix. And I think a lot of what Matt and I focus on with our leaders is everybody we bring into our organization, we're developing them to be future leaders of our organization or future leaders within other organizations. That's a big part of our reason that we try to create our why and our culture to be. But we really established that in order for you to be a manager of a VA, you got to be a VA first. In order for you to
Yep.
be a coach of a VA, you got to be a VA first. In order for you to be a great manager, you've got to do all these different steps below what you're teaching so that you can ultimately teach the teacher how to teach the people.
Oh man, I feel like when I say things now, it's at a high level because I've been doing this for 11 years. But a prime example would be the software that we use to manage about this 500 or so domain names. I built the code from A through Z on that software. Okay, everything. So I used to work during the daytime at the office, meaning customer service. Do the when I was talking about when I was first starting Central Station marketing in the beginning, I was doing the customer service. I was doing the hey, how's the bill coming along? I was even though I had one or two people, but then I went home at nighttime. That's when I used to tinker with the code.
Mhm.
Then I hired my CTO, who at that time he was my contractor. Now I feel like I'm very lucky in the sense of the people that I connected myself with. So the person that I hired to be my contractor to help me with programming my software was the gentleman that replaced me in my previous job. Remember the job that I left?
Mhm.
He replaced my software that I built. He rebuilt it for them. Okay, so you're good enough to replace me. You're coming if you're available. You come in and work with me, right?
Mhm.
So he comes in, and now I can tell you, the first couple of years I did the code all by myself, so I had to write all the code to do this. And now he doesn't let me touch the code base. Apparently, I'm a messy coder, but it was very hard, Matt, to let go of that control, let
Mhm.
go of that baby. That man, if I wanted to get something done, I used to write the code and I used to just do it. But
Mhm.
now I have to submit a request, and then who put it on the queue? Evan, do you want this done right now, or do you want this done the right way, or do you want me to do it just fast?
Mhm.
All right, I got it. I guess I want to do it the right way. So
Yeah.
he grounds me and builds it in a way that it is the right approach. It is scalable. He's doing it the proper way. Okay. So same thing with the accounting, the account management. I have my office manager, my COO, let's say Chief Operating Officer, Kimberly. She would, she now runs the whole company pretty much. If
Mhm.
I want to spend something, I got to ask her for permission if I want to do something. And I kind of like it because she has earned my trust and she has earned everybody else in the office's trust. She
Mhm.
does everything by the book and she's creating processes in place. She comes up with new ideas. All I got to say is, I like that. That's great. So, yes, if you do everything on your own, at some point you have to surround yourself with the right people and you got to trust them that they're going to do the right thing and you have to slowly let go. Okay, you can't do it all. Now I don't do any programming. I don't have to do any HR stuff. I don't have to do any customer management stuff, even though I do time to time sit with my account manager in meetings. But they can take care of all of that without me being present.
Yeah, I am currently consulting with another buddy of mine who is in a very similar position you are with your company. And he is an incredibly talented sales guy who's a founder led sales guy, but he doesn't have the same structure within the upper management team. And the conversations I've had with him is as talented and as good of a salesperson you are, you've got to be the CEO before you can worry about being the head of sales. And so I'm trying to challenge him. Let's loosen the reins on the sales side. And right now, you need to be a CEO or hire a COO that can come in and be that. And so you can just be the most dynamic salesperson. At the end of the day, if you're most valuable being the best sales guy, great. Cool. Be the head of sales. But if you're most valuable being the CEO, do that. I think that it's about finding the place where you can be best served, where you want to be. And typically where you want to be, I think, is where you need to be in regards to getting the results done. Um, Matt, do you have any other questions before we head into kind of the Spitfire questions we do at the end?
Yeah, I want to jump into a little bit about marketing. I love marketing, and I say I love it. I've never really dove into it to learn as much. I've known enough to be dangerous. I say that a little bit. So I just want to know in general here, like with your business here, what are you seeing a lot of people turning towards nowadays in marketing? Because I know it's kind of made a shift. I know you said like CEO back in the day was like the biggest thing. Like you had to get SEO.
SEO. Yep.
SEO was the biggest thing back in the day. I feel like that trend has kind of gone a little bit, and I could be wrong. I know it's still a great thing, and being at the top is awesome, but I just feel like it's not as big of a buzzword as it used to be.
Yeah. So the way I see it is SEO is there's a lot of ads you see on Facebook nowadays. SEO is dead, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
If you ask me, SEO is the most important thing now ever before.
Hmm.
I agree.
I recently went through a keynote speech at the search conference that I went to recently, and the person said, I forget her name, so it's hard to give her credit, but she said something in the nature of, there was a time where uh, horses were everywhere, and the cars came in and replaced the horse.
Yeah.
But now horses are more valuable than ever. If you get a
Yeah.
racehorse, it's more expensive than any vehicles you can buy.
I just saw a
So,
racehorse go over $6 million. So yeah.
so what you want to be is you want to be the racehorse of horses.
Mm,
So think about farming. When automation came in and farming, the technology, the farmers are going to lose all their jobs. There were a revolution on, oh man, we got to have government oversight on all these tools coming in. They're going to kill farming.
yeah.
Farming is thriving more than ever before.
Yeah.
It's the people that figured out how to leverage the technology to take farming to the next level. They became the bigger companies, and the rest of us are doing gardening in our backyards. Okay.
Mhm.
Same goes for SEO, because now it's the AI came in. So the person said, is the people that who's going to get replaced by people that know how to use the AI.
Mhm.
So if I were you, the SEO people that were doing the old practices that, oh, I'm just going to write some blog articles, write some buy some backlinks from India and Russia, that SEO is dead. Okay, if you
Mhm.
do uh, if you do stuff that is super easy, that is easy come, easy go,
Mhm.
versus the SEO that we're talking about is writing relevant content, good content.
Mhm.
If you think about who's ranking for any given keyword, Google still shows 10 listings on the first page of Google. Am I right?
Yep.
Google hasn't taken that away. Yeah, you got ads at the top, then you have the maps, then you have the results. So it's harder and harder to show up on that results page. That's why people are giving up. Back in the days, people used to come up left and right with just cheap, like keyword rich domain, and oh, I got SEO. Yes, that type of black hat practices are done. Google has stopped that. But Google said the stuff that I'm doing today that I did in 2006, 2007, which is write content, build backlinks, proper backlinks, don't do anything hokey, do content that are for your users instead of for the search engine. The minute you write for the search engine, then you're thinking about what SEO is, blah, blah, blah. I
Mhm.
have a little sign in my office with, like the no smoking sign. So I have SEO with a circle around it and with a cross through on it. I don't want my team members to think SEO.
Mhm.
SEO is what we got to do, but think about the user that's going to be reading that content. Is this content useful for that user? If you do it the right way, if you think about the title tag is the most important element on the page because that's going to show up in the search engine result page.
Yeah.
Most people have home, the company name is the title tag. Yeah, that SEO is not going to get you anywhere.
Mhm.
So if you think about that, so the marketing is alive and it's more important now than ever before. It's
So,
more important now than ever before. So if
so
somebody
Evan,
said that,
tell me if I'm wrong here, because I think you'll agree with me. The people who say SEO is dead are the people who are trying to sell you advertising. Like,
yes, right.
it's easy to sell advertising.
That's
It's
right.
hard to do SEO. So
That's
why
right.
most people don't do it, most companies, most businesses, just organizations, is because it's hard to do. It's kind of like the guy or girl who's 50 pounds or 100 pounds overweight. They're like, the gym's overrated. Yeah, it's because it's hard to do. Like, it's hard to stick to a diet and go to the gym and lift weights every day. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just hard to do.
That's right.
SEO is the same thing. It's hard to do. And the people that are telling you SEO is dead are the people who are trying to sell you ads. But in reality, SEO is more important than ever, because when you have good SEO and you decide to spend money on ads, you're spending less money on ads because of the quality of your SEO. Not to mention, look, I come from the automotive industry. 93% of car buying experiences start on Google. If you're not relevant on Google, then
Yeah.
they don't find you. You're not relevant in real life. Now, you can also place ads and pay for ads and do that as an additional thing. But man, SEO is everything to these businesses.
So Matt Walton, let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. When's the last time you Googled something and you clicked on the ad?
Oh, 100%. You skip right over it.
Why?
Yeah. Because of trust factor.
Because the press, it's subconsciously, you
Yeah.
think that's an ad, it's a paid ad, you bypass that and go to the SEO results.
Yeah.
Comscore came out with the data, I think this is old data back in 2013. 1 out of 7 people will click on the ad, and 6 will click on the organic listing. So if
Yeah.
you, the bulk of your traffic is still in the SEO space. Matt is absolutely correct here saying that, oh, you want to, Google is trying to sell you ads, right? Google, if you look at their revenue, every year they're going up by $5 billion or $6 billion. You think they're really getting that many more advertisers to advertise with them? It's the same guys just spending more and more money on the same keyword.
Yeah.
So SEO is more important than ever. If you're really good at it, if you rank for it, the clients that we have, if they rank for it, we're on a month-to-month program. They can cancel my program anytime they want. You know what? I got clients that's been with me for 11 years. Why aren't they leaving?
Yeah.
Well, good luck. Go somewhere else. That's gonna I hate. There's a lot of people that call you and say, "Oh, I can get you to rank in 6 months," or "Give me 6 weeks, I'll get you to rank on first page of Google."
Never buy from those guys.
Yeah, it's just too
fake.
easy, too simple. If they could do that, just ask them, where's your website? Is it ranking on the first page of Google? It's tough.
Yeah. It's like Matt, the analogy you use. I mean, it's like, those guys are selling you Ozempic versus you over here talking about the quality, get to the gym, make a lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And now you're for life. Yeah. I mean, see, yeah, that makes complete sense because there's what you said about your analogy about, horses back in the day to cars and how the quality of horses, they're more expensive because of that. Same thing with the farmers and the food that you're eating constantly. I think farmers are more important nowadays because everyone's in this health craze where like there's so much crap on our foods from these corporations, that we need actual real farmers that.
My point to that is I do SEO. There are less SEOs in the country now,
Yeah.
so my valuation is better because I want to become the racehorse of the SEO world.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say is that rather than so find a niche, no matter what business you're in.
Yep.
Rather than saying there's too much competition, there's this and that, can you become the racehorse of that industry? Yes or no?
Yeah.
It's going to take some time, of course. But
it seems like you focus on the right thing from the beginning. Is that's quality, and you have a lot of people trying to do the fast stuff and trying to get get rich fast and quickly give you results. But you focus on quality from the beginning, which has built a business and that's reliable, that gets results, and is reliable to your people, and that's why they stay with you so long.
The last thing I'm going to say on this SEO subject is the Google. One thing that's true is Google's going to make changes, as you know. They're going to come up with algorithm update, Penguin, Panda, and all of that other stuff that Google comes up with every so often.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is you got to look yourself in the rearview mirror. What did I do wrong? Do I got to go fix all my sites?
Yep.
If you do it the right way to begin with, if you build it by Google Webmasters guidelines, because Google gives you that guidelines, what they're looking for, then you don't have to look back in the rearview mirror. You just keep. So every so often our sites do tank because I look at the data. I have data across multiple years. But then it comes back up again because you're doing the right things. The algorithm's going to make changes every so often. Don't freak out. People, if they do a little bit, oh man, what happened? The sky's falling. I got to make some changes. That's when you're chasing the search engine and ranking. Instead of stay focused on, like you said, quality, do the right thing. In the long run, it's going to work out for you.
Awesome. Great. Yeah, I think that was insanely good information for anybody looking to do any type of marketing or grow any type of marketing business for sure. So we're going to jump into our next segment here, unless you got a question, Matt.
Nope.
Where we're going to do kind of quick questions here, usually around 15 questions where we just kind of tee you up for quick answers in order to give a good quality answer back to us on these questions in order to just give people some quick information that they can use and take and digest and learn for themselves. So we're going to jump into that. Matt, do you want to start off? You want me to?
Sure. Evan, in 3 words, describe who Evan Islam was as a 10-year-old.
3 words you said?
3 words.
Get in trouble.
Okay.
That's 3 words. Get in trouble.
That's 1 word. 1 word. Got it. Trouble.
1 word. Okay.
Trouble. Yeah.
Smart.
Okay.
Get out of trouble.
Okay. Okay.
So you get in trouble. You were smart enough to get yourself out of trouble.
I think I was street smart that way back in the days.
Awesome.
Would you consider
give me
yourself to be more book smart or street smart at that age?
street, definitely.
Okay.
Awesome. Give me some of the top trends in marketing you're seeing today.
It's a broad question. What do you mean by trends in marketing?
All right, so let's go back to the quality. All right, let's go to some of the things you do, some of the tips you would have on building quality content for people's websites, blog posts, things like that, and for someone's looking to build up their image.
So do the basics, which is write for the users.
Mhm.
Don't think about anybody. Write for the audience that's going to read it.
Mhm.
Use common sense approach. Don't write high level content that only school teachers and people are going to understand.
Mhm.
And um, I think the other thing I would say is there's a book called Don't Make Me Think, meaning when you're writing meaning this book called User Activity, where people now get too fancy. I tell them I have a lot of UX UI guys, meaning
Yep.
graphic designers. I
Mhm.
usually tell them those UX UI guys are the disease of the internet. So
Yep.
what they do is they come up with so many fancy icons, fancy this and that. As a consumer user, I can't tell what this is. I gotta learn this stuff.
Mhm.
Stick to the basics. Have navigation that are easy to use. It may look ugly, it may not look fancy, but can my end user use it? Keep in mind, they're coming into your website to buy something from you. 99.99% of their lifetime, they're going to spend time on other websites, not on yours.
Mhm.
So they come in that 0.01% of their time to your website. It needs to act like the 99% of the web instead of some funky design that you have that people don't know how to utilize. And that's when you have less of a conversion rate. You bring in a lot of traffic, but they don't convert on your website. So to me, common sense approach, proper call to actions. I mean, I know this is a long answer for your question, but
Good.
it's not rapid fire. It's very hard to explain that in very short words, I
So
would say.
maybe let me ask you it this way. Rank these 5 things for a business owner who's been in business for less than 2 years that they've got to rank these things of importance. Their website, their SEO, their advertising, their social media, and the referral or word of mouth program. Those 5 things. Rank them in order.
Then it's website, then it's SEO, then it's advertising, then it's social media. And before the advertising and social media, I would add referral in the middle.
Got it. So you're saying website, SEO, referral, then advertising, then social last.
Correct.
Perfect.
Because if you have a good this is 2025, guys, coming up in a month or two. Website is like you got a store, you have a sign. You gotta have it. It's basic. You can't have without a sign what it is that you do. SEO is you got to be in the directory somewhere. How else people gonna get to your place?
Mhm.
You got to be found. And your reputation that you build, the referrals. Now that you have a good place, now people can refer you. Oh yeah, did you see that store? That's a great looking store. I mean, he's in the prime location, right? Real estate, real estate, real estate.
Mhm.
And then you go into it. Okay, now I got to do the advertising, billboards or whatever, and then do social media. To me, those would be the 5. Build a good website. Focus on your SEO. Don't spend money on advertising before you spend money on SEO because you got to rank. Otherwise, you're always going to be paying your way in to get traffic. You'll never grow the organic side.
Awesome. What advice would you have to a business starting off right now that needed to build their online presence?
Uh, there are some easy ways you can market your website.
Mhm.
First of all, build a good website, right? I don't care if you build it in Wix, if you build it with me, or if you hire an company that pays 30,000, whatever, right?
Mhm.
If you're starting out, you're probably gonna take the most inexpensive route. So there's a lot of free places you can build a website.
Mhm.
But to market it, the easiest thing you can do is create profiles, call it social profiles, on Facebook, LinkedIn. Think about all the free places where you can list yourself, create a profile. Heck, MySpace if you have, if that's still active. But the reality is, if you create profiles of your business in all of those places, and then you put a link of your website from there,
Mhm.
that right there is going to give signals to Google that, oh, okay, here's a company and they're all over this place. It's called citation.
Mhm.
But instead of using fancy words, all I'm saying is go to Hotprox, go to Manta. Those are publicly available free directory. Go to Bing Maps, Apple Maps, Yelp. Those are free. Those are free listings out there. Just create a listing there and link to your website. That you're by doing that, you're doing SEO for yourself. And make sure the content that you're writing on your website, it's easy. And think about your neighbor that's going to come to your website. If they come in, what are they going to see?
Mhm.
Answer the 5 questions very easily. Who are you? What do you do? Where do you do it? When do you do it? Is it call now or call later, right? And how do you do it? If you answer those 5 questions, the basic questions, you've done your SEO, you've done your website.
Awesome.
Just think about
Evan,
that. Yeah,
go ahead. What makes you different than your competition?
common sense, nothing fancy. Do what Google is expecting you to do. Uh, do it the right way. Okay. No shortcuts. No shortcuts. You can't say, "Hey, get my site to rank within 6 weeks, 6 months." You have to build it. You have to build it the right way, and then pray to Google gods, may they have mercy on your website. There's no shortcuts. Just do it the right way. Build it the right way. That's the way we work, because I want to have a client with me for 7 years, 10 years, instead of okay, let me sign them a 1 year contract. Let me milk all that money, and then 1 year later they're going to go to somebody else.
Makes total
Awesome.
sense.
What areas of your business do you find most difficult to manage now?
Sales. Sales trumps everything. It's hard. Um, it's Matt Huber is my business coach, sales coach, and I can tell you, no matter how good you think you are, still you got a lot to learn. Now that's just the sales part of it, but I think that's the most challenging part I have for my business, because I've worked so hard on getting everything else in the right place at the right time. But meaning it's process driven. So sales is the only thing that I can't get enough of.
Mhm.
And I have enough demos given, but not everybody's signing up, because the industry is so hard, where people sold too many sleazy deals where, hey, I can get you to rank fast, and everybody has a bad taste in their mouth. So it's extremely difficult to sell nowadays in my industry.
We'll keep working on it. We got it. We got a good plan in place. So let me ask you this: what's your 1 year, 5 year, and 20-year goal with your business?
1 year is more cash flow. The more sites I sell, uh, I feel like my team is in place. I can scale. If I can bring in, I have 200 clients. If I can double up to another 200 clients, I feel like I can produce the content. So that's the challenge right now. I got to get sales. I have everything else ready. Second is the 5 year goal would be to scale up my platform to do it. It's DIY platform, meaning just like Wix, anybody can go build a website in their platform. I'd like to have my tool be ready to a point where people are just signing up because it's a great platform, and it's automated, scalability. And then if you're saying 20 years, go public.
Nice.
I
Okay.
mean, would be something like that would be what the BHAG would be, right?
Awesome. And we finish every podcast off with this question here. I want to ask you this and get your opinion and feedback on this question here. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want to be known as the helper, or I should say, um, I like the position I'm in. I feel that I have 90 some people's lives in my hand overseas, and my team here in the States is, can I get some of those guys, leave my organization, be successful elsewhere? Because in my organization, I'm the top guy. Who's going to get on top of that, right? But I feel that if I create an environment where that label CEO or something, probably the top, but can they be really happy by being the director of SEO, by being the director of content writing, by director of marketing, whatever the position you're in, can you maximize your revenue potential or salary potential in the organization? And I just want to be a facilitator of making those people successful, and because they all come in with their family attached to it,
Mhm.
so the responsibility falls on us to be successful. If I'm not successful, we're putting a lot of people down in our organization.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, maybe a facilitator would be the term, or being there for some of these guys to excel in their career would be I would think would be the legacy part that I'd like to. That's what I would want people to say that, oh, Evan helped me to get to that level.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about that. There's a burden on you. People are relying on you as an entrepreneur, as an owner of the business, to supply their family with food.
Oh, dude, that is the stressful part.
Yeah.
That especially as you grow. Now I'm thinking, what if my server goes out? Somebody runs a big 18-wheeler in my building where my server's at, and I got 500 domains go bloop. And think about the livelihood of those clients'
Hmm.
lives.
Yep.
What's going to happen to those people?
Yeah.
So yeah, it is a huge responsibility, and man, we don't take that lightly. That's crazy.
That says a lot about you, Evan. Evan, thank you so much for being on our podcast with us.
Yeah,
We appreciate
enjoyed it.
all the insights you gave. I think anybody listening will have a lot to take away from everything you gave us today. Today, I know I am taking a lot from what you said today as well.
Appreciate
So,
it.
Evan, how does everyone get a hold of you? How do we reach out to you? How do we help you get more sales? If they want to learn more about Evan and how his business is, and they're like, wow, I like the way Evan talks, and I like the way his approaches to SEO and how we can build my business for a lifetime here. What do they need to do to get a hold of you?
Google me.
Google you.
I'm the most popular Evan Islam out there because my name is so unique. There's not a whole lot of Evan Islams out there. Let's just put it that way. And I dominate my first page of Google.
You use your own SEO. There's proof right there. So I mean, there you go. Matt, you said, hey, are you on the first page SEO? Evan Islam was on the first page of SEO because of what he's done. Perfect. Yeah, great. And Central Station Marketing, is it centralstationmarketing.com as well?
Correct.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We appreciate it. We'll link everything for Evan down into the bio here. Please follow us if you haven't given us a follow yet. We appreciate everyone listening to us. And Evan, thank you again.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.